The night I first saw Anna, she wasn't looking at the city lights from her father's penthouse office, the way a CEO's daughter should. She was staring at them like they belonged to a world she'd already said goodbye to. Her wheelchair faced the glass walls of the skyline, but her eyes were somewhere far beyond the reflection of her own fragile body. Everyone in the building knew her story in whispers, the brilliant, vibrant girl who once ran charity marathons and organized youth foundations, now paralyzed after a brutal accident that took her mother's life and her own ability to walk. Her father buried himself in billion-dollar mergers, pretending success could stitch together what fate had ripped apart. And Anna, she buried herself in silence. I wasn't supposed to be there that night. I was just Scott, a single dad, who fixed electrical systems for high-rise offices to pay medical bills and raise a 6-year-old daughter who still believed her dad could fix anything. I had grease on my hands and exhaustion in my bones when I noticed her struggling to reach a fallen book. No assistants, no nurses, just her pride fighting gravity. I don't know what made me speak. Maybe it was the way loneliness recognized itself. I walked over quietly, picked up the book, and instead of offering pity, I said the only thing that felt honest, "Let me help you." She looked at me like I'd insulted her, like help was another word for weakness. But there was something else in her eyes too, something cracked but not broken. That night turned into conversations. Conversations turned into late evenings where I'd bring my daughter, Lily, who somehow made Anna laugh in ways the therapist never could. Anna hated sympathy but responded to stubborn kindness. I didn't treat her like a tragedy. I treated her like a woman who still had fire in her veins. And slowly, the ice around her heart began to melt. She told me about the accident, how she blamed herself for begging her mother to drive faster in the rain, how she replayed the crash every night, how paralysis felt like punishment she deserved. I told her about my wife's illness, about holding her hand as machines decided when she breathed, about promising I'd raise Lily with enough love for 2 parents. We weren't trying to fall in love. We were just broken souls comparing scars. But love has a way of growing in wounded soil. I started researching advanced rehabilitation programs, experimental therapies her father had dismissed as false hope. I wasn't a billionaire, but I knew how to fight. I used my savings, reached out to specialists, convinced her father that hope wasn't a liability, it was an investment in his daughter's will to live. The first time, Anna stood between parallel bars, shaking, terrified, and furious at her own body. She nearly gave up. "This is useless. Stop," she cried. "I can't feel anything." But I held her trembling hands and said, "Then feel this, I'm not leaving." Weeks turned into months of sweat, tears, and small victories no headline would ever cover. A toe that twitched, a knee that responded, a heartbeat that learned to believe again. And somewhere between physiotherapy sessions and midnight talks, I realized I wasn't helping her because I felt sorry for her. I was helping her because I loved her. The day she took her first unsteady step toward me, the entire room held its breath. She collapsed into my arms, not because she was weak, but because she was overwhelmed. We both cried, not for what she lost, but for what she had reclaimed. Yet the real twist wasn't that Anna walked again. It was that she taught me how to live again. She showed Lily that strength isn't about muscles, it's about refusing to surrender. Her father, once emotionally absent, began showing up to therapy sessions, humbled by the realization that a single dad with calloused hands had given his daughter more hope than all his money combined. The media eventually caught wind of the CEO's miracle daughter, but they never knew the truth. The real miracle wasn't medical. It was to hearts choosing each other despite fear. When I finally told Anna I loved her, I expected hesitation. Instead, she placed her once paralyzed hand against my chest and whispered, "You didn't save me because I couldn't walk. You saved me because you never saw me as broken." And in that moment, every sleepless night, every doubt, every sacrifice felt small compared to the way she looked at me, like I was the miracle. But love isn't complete without one last test. Just as Anna regained her strength and our wedding plans quietly began, doctors discovered scar tissue threatening to undo her progress. The possibility of losing mobility again hung over us like a cruel echo of the past. I saw the fear return to her eyes, not fear of paralysis this time, but fear of becoming a burden to me and Lily. She tried to push me away, insisting I deserved an easier life. "You've done enough, Sa," she said through tears. "I don't want you sacrificing everything again." That was the night I understood something deeper than romance. Love isn't about rescuing someone once. It's about choosing them every time the storm comes back. I knelt in front of her, just like I had the first night with a fallen book, and said, "I didn't say let me help you because you were weak. I said it because I saw who you could be, and I still do. The surgery was risky, the recovery brutal, but this time, Anna didn't fight alone. She fought as a woman loved fiercely, as a future wife, as a mother figure to a little girl who already called her my hero. And when she walked down the aisle months later, slowly, carefully, but on her own, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Not because she could walk, but because she chose to stand. Stand for love, stand for family, stand for a life she once thought was over. As she reached me at the altar, she smiled through tears and whispered, "You helped me walk, but you taught me how to believe." And I realized something profound. I hadn't saved a CEO's paralyzed daughter. I had fallen in love with Anna, a woman whose strength transformed my world. Our story didn't begin with perfection. It began with pain, but it ended the only way true love ever does, not with a miracle cure, not with wealth or applause, but with two people holding hands, knowing that whatever comes next, they'll face it together.